My fellow prophecy student, greetings. The prophetic countdown to the end of the world will reach its climax at the second coming, but from what is evident in Revelation 20, things will not be brought to a conclusion until 1,000 years after Christ returns. While the second advent signifies doom for the unrepentant sinner, there will be other issues that need to be dealt with in order to bring closure to the great controversy between Christ and Satan. The narrative development of Revelation 20 has its beginning in chapter 19, where Christ returns to planet Earth as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. As a consequence of Christ's return, the beast and the false prophet were thrown in a lake of fire, and the rest of the inhabitants were destroyed by the sword of his mouth. Thus the world will be left in a state of desolation and filled with dead bodies of transgressors who did not repent. This will be the place where Satan and his fallen angels are to be confined for a very long time. If we fail to see both chapters as one complete narrative, our deduction on what is to take place during and after the millennium will not be as accurate as they need to be. As I have always been saying, both in articles and videos, it is important for us to treat the different themes in the book of Revelation as a cohesive storyline. It is very irritating sometimes to hear some Bible commentators making the book of Revelation look like a jumbled and disorganized treatise. You can see the clear evidence of this in their conclusions on Revelation 20. At this point, let me dismiss a few myths about this subject that are being propagated by different theologians. Number 1. It is not true that people will be living upon the earth during the 1,000 years. 2. The Bible does not teach that the 1,000 years will afford a second chance for sinners who did not repent during their previous life. And 3. It is absolutely not correct to suggest that Christ will reign on the earth during that period. Let us follow the narrative development of end-time events in Revelation 19 and then make the transition into chapter 20 and see what picture we end up with. From what we have already covered in chapter 19, this chapter is about how all the transgressors, including the beast and the false prophet, will be slain upon the earth on account of the brightness of Christ's coming. You will recall the mention of the 3 top crime bosses in Revelation 16 and verse 13. They are the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. With the execution of the beast and the false prophet, the next culprit to face divine justice is the dragon. In Revelation 20, the prophet John declared that the dragon was held with a great chain and was cast into what is called the bottomless pit. In verse 7, it is also called a prison where Satan is to be held for 1,000 years. But is this the description of a literal place of incarceration? Can the devil be held with a literal chain? While the dragon is a symbol of Satan, the term chain, prison, and bottomless pit as used in the narrative are idiomatic expressions that are not meant to convey what they appear to mean in literal terms. Let us take a look at how the Bible uses the term chain in figurative language. In describing the impending fate of Satan and his fallen angels, the Apostle Peter made the following remarks. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. 1 Peter 2 and verse 4. A similar thought is also expressed in Jude verse 6. It says, And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. From the above text, we can see that the word chain is used idiomatically to mean darkness. It is supposed to be the state in which the fallen angels are to be cast, and that is precisely what is described in Jeremiah 4. Let us also look at the Bible's usage of the word prison in relation to the same period we are dealing with here. Let us go to the prophet Isaiah to see how he uses this term. It says, And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together, as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days shall they be visited. Isaiah 24 verses 21 and 22. From the prophecy of Isaiah quoted above, it is clearly suggesting that the dead bodies of the transgressors who were punished will be gathered in a place idiomatically referred to as the prison. It also carries a similar concept to that of the bottomless pit. But these expressions are actual references to the desolate earth. As the scriptures clearly teach us, it is earth that will be filled with the dead bodies. When you compare the prophecies of John with those of Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Peter, you will clearly see that there is nowhere to fit the idea that Christ will reign on the earth during the 1,000 years. When Jeremiah saw the chaotic state that the earth will be in after the second coming, he simply declared, "There was no man." Jeremiah 4 and verse 25. From these prophecies, we are told that the earth will be in such an uninhabitable state as to provide no basis for the view that there will be people living upon the earth during the millennium of Revelation 20. And worse yet, it offers no foundation for the teaching that the wicked will get a second chance at salvation. The general teaching of the scriptures suggests that the wicked dead will all be resurrected to shame and everlasting contempt. Daniel 12 and verse 2 and John 5 verse 28 and 29. Satan will be forced to share the same prison cell with the wicked dead who were previously slain with the sword of Christ's mouth. As a death row inmate, he awaits a fiery execution at the end of his 1,000-year prison sentence. Isaiah's prediction is in perfect harmony with John's forecast of end-of-the-world events as seen in the narrative transition from Revelation 19 to 20. In chapter 19, Christ returns and the wicked are all destroyed. After describing the resurrected saints in Revelation 20 and verse 4, John went on to say that the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. Revelation 20 and verse 5. Thus, in summary, the saints will come forth in the first resurrection as a consequence of the second advent, while the wicked will come up in the second at the end of the 1,000 years. As the first resurrection marks the beginning of the millennium, the second resurrection marks its end. For further end-time studies in the prophecies of Daniel and Revelation covering this and other end-time subjects, download my free end-time prophecy ebook at www.prophecyecourse.com. In the meantime, study to show yourself approved unto God and be the most outstanding prophecy student you can be. Thanks for watching.